Well, hey, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to talk about the Fender Tone Master FR-10 full range flat response powered speaker. It's designed for use in today's digital modeling applications, and whether you have a Quad Cortex, a Fender Tone Master Pro, a Fractal FM9, or any of the Line 6 offerings, the FR-10 is designed to give you an accurate representation of the amps and effects that are coming out of your unit, and it's suitable for both on-stage and at-home use. So let's take a look. Alright, so let's start by doing a little unboxing here. So I haven't gotten into this at all. This is basically going to be the first time I've opened this. So this is the FR-10. They also have the FR-12, which I will be reviewing soon. Man, that's satisfying. And then the only other thing that's in here is the unit itself. So I guess we'll get that out. So we're all wrapped in plastic here. There's also a power cord that comes inside the unit. First impressions, it's super light. And I think, yeah, it weighs in around 26, 27 pounds. Owner's manual. Same for the FR-10 and the FR-12. And hang tags. The other main selling point that I really like about the series, it has tilt back legs, as you can see here. And you can literally tilt the amplifier back towards you to give you better sound reinforcement on a loud stage. Okay, so next I'm just going to do some basic tone examples. So keep in mind I'm miking a full range cabinet. It's not the best way to do it, but I don't have a ton of great studio equipment here, so I'm just kind of making do with what I have. But I'm going to give you first an example of my DI sound, and then we're going to hear it through a Sennheiser E609 microphone. Both are going just straight into Logic, and both patches on my Quad Cortex will be exactly the same. There won't be any sort of difference between that. Let's take a listen. Alright, so we've heard some sound clips of it, and my first impressions are this thing sounds really good. So here in Canada, this costs around $730 after tax for the 10-inch, and it's just a bit shy of $800 for the 12-inch. But the 10-inch I think sounds really good. I had the level at about a little under half, and everything else was flat. So I had the cut turned off, basically it wasn't doing anything, and then I had the bass, middle, and treble just at their noon positions, which Fender says gives you basically a flat response. So no EQ added. The thing to note here is my microphone that I was recording the cabinet with sounds very dark, and the cabinet itself is brighter and more natural sounding than the samples that are going to be coming to you through YouTube are going to sound. So keep that in mind. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this thing. At the price point, I don't know really what would be out there that would be kind of better in terms of bang for your buck. Now, there is one thing I want to talk about, and that is the hiss. And I'm going to give you an example of what that sounds like now. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear what the hiss is going to sound like through this little microphone here, but there is a bit of hiss. So I'm not too sure how the hiss kind of translated through the microphone there, but there is somewhat of a noticeable amount of hiss. It basically is unaffected by changing the volume, but it is eliminated by using the cut knob. So I found if you turn the cut knob from, in my case it was at 0 to anywhere above about 11 o'clock, the hiss goes away and you don't have to deal with that. But if you're a bedroom player, that's something to note. On stage and stuff like that, you will never notice it. I also find this cabinet is very loud. I've had the volume for all my recordings under half, and I find that it would probably keep up with the band very proficiently, and I don't think there's any worry there. Again, it's a 1000 watt Class D amplifier, so in theory it should be able to get pretty darn loud. Alright, so my final thoughts on this FR cabinet by Fender. It is a really good bang for your buck, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find something that's kind of more adaptable and more compact and light at this price point. Now you have the Kemper cabinet, but that is really only for use with Kemper units. They do some special DSP type stuff within the actual Kemper head that makes the cabinet specifically basically only usable for a Kemper. Versus something like this, if you change modelers down the road, this is going to definitely serve you well. Again, the nice thing about it, you have that 3-band EQ and you have a cut on top of that. So you can really shape your sound to how you'd like to hear it on stage. Again, the volume thing I don't think is going to be any issue. If you want to keep up with a really loud drummer, you might have an issue. I don't have the 12-inch yet to test out, but that will be coming soon. And overall, I think this is an excellent value. I think Fender has knocked it out of the park with this, and I would not be surprised if this is one of their best-selling kind of pro audio products. So I just want to talk briefly about the FR-10 versus the competition. So on the extreme low end, you have stuff like the Headrush speaker, which is basically just a relabeled alto speaker. Now I know that they have a Mark II version of it, and I really don't know what's changed, but from using the original speaker from Headrush, I didn't really like the sound. It was too hi-fi for my liking, and there was a lot of bass coupling even with the 8-inch speaker, the smaller version. I found that it was very bass heavy and I didn't like the sound of it, so I really only lasted for a couple of weeks with that, and then I sold it and I bought the Friedman ASC10, which I've done a review on before. I'll leave a link for it up on the top there so you can watch that after you're finished watching this video. But the Friedman is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's a more expensive unit. It's up there with like the Mission Engineering Gemini series and maybe some of the Laney stuff. The Laney and the Mission Engineering stuff isn't super accessible in Canada. I went with the Friedman because I was able to kind of demo it using someone else's speaker before I made the purchase. So that being said, I think this is in a really good price point. You're in, the $700-800 range. It's accessible for users who maybe just are going to play in their bedroom or in their living room, but then at the same time, it also has enough power to hang with a drummer and a full band. So it occupies both those kind of ranges, and for the price, I think it is a good value for sure. It would be nice if Fender included a cover because, the covers they're charging $25-30 for. And the covers that come with the amplifiers, which would be the ones that you would be buying for these units, they're not really great quality. They're kind of a plasticky quality with not much padding or anything like that in the inside. But that being said, I think the tilt back legs feature is really fantastic. I wish that they would do that on a lot more of their amplifiers. And as I said before, it's cool that they've implemented it on the FR-10 and also the FR-12 as well. If you're on the fence about buying this unit, I recommend buying it from a place where you have a good return policy and trying it out and see if it works for you. I think for my application for live playing, this would be more than adequate. So if you got something from the video today, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help me out. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I try my best to read through all the comments that I get. And as always, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching.